need you to look at my car right now.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but we're closed. You'll have to come back tomorrow.
No, I'm not going anywhere until you look at my car.
r/entitled parents. Our first story we'll be reading today, entitled Mom Demands I Fix Her Car After Hours, then gets salty and tries to get me fired when I say no. From user Wrench It Good. After that, Scary Entitled Customer from user Hannah Rose. And then we'll be finishing up with The Church Boy Stalker Saga from user Amthab. Thank you so much to our authors for letting us read your stories. And if you're an author who would like to hear your stories on the channel, please submit them to the r/Mr. Reddit subreddit. And welcome to the newest members of the Re-Army, Yummier Dog, Biggest Hulk, and Karen. And if you're new, join the Re-Army by subscribing and turning on notifications so you don't miss a thing. Entitled Mom Demands I Fix Her Car After Hours, then gets salty and tries to get me fired when I say no. Obligatory on mobile warning. So, I work as a mechanic at a family-owned buy here, pay here dealership in the middle of small-town USA. The pay isn't that great, but since the owner lets us work on our cars after hours, among other nice perks, that more than makes up for it. So it isn't unusual to see one of us still in the shop after we've closed, changing our oil, our brakes, or whatnot. I was in the shop on a Saturday afternoon. We close at noon on Saturdays, doing some routine maintenance on my Camaro, featured in a previous post, and enjoying the nice weather, when I get a visitor. The cast. We've got me, the entitled mom, and the clueless kid. Entitled Mom pulls up with steam billowing out from under the hood of her Impala, and I can hear the engine making a loud knocking sound. She gets out and tries the front door. It's locked. However, I had the back garage door open for circulation, and she walked around and got in through the open door.
Are you open?
I honestly thought she had left.
Huh? Oh, good, you're open. My car just started smoking and has been making a weird sound. Can you fix it?
Sorry, ma'am. We're closed. I'm just here fixing my car. However, we open at...
What? What do you mean you're closed? Oh, no. You see, I have to get this fixed so Clueless Kid and I can meet my husband.
Yeah, we're closed and open at 8 on Tuesday morning. Sorry, you'll just have to wait.
Surely you can make an exception. I can't drive my car like this. You have to look at it.
Clueless Kid gets out of the car and starts knocking on the door asking for Entitled Mom. She opens the garage door and lets him in. No, I don't have to. And you both need to leave because I'm leaving soon and I have to lock up.
No, we are not leaving until you look at our car. And who is your manager?
The good idea fairy strikes and I smirk. Okay, sure, I'll take a look. Entitled Mom has this smug look on her face, thinking she's won. Boy, was she wrong. I sneakily unlock the door next to the garage door, and I close the garage door as Entitled Mom is walking out with Clueless Kid. To keep the cold air in, she doesn't question it. I walk up to her car. It's still running. The steam is turning to smoke. There's smoke coming out of the tailpipe, and the knocking sound is getting worse. I make exaggerated motions and sounds as I look at the dying automobile. Then I turn around. There you go. I looked at it. Entitled Mom, after picking her jaw up from the ground.
What? No, that isn't what I meant. Look at it.
I casually look over at it again, then look back at her. Okay, I've looked at it. Entitled Mom is turning red in the face.
No, that's not what I meant. You didn't even open the hood.
I'm playing along as this is pure gold. Okay, sure. I pop open the hood and lift it up when I hear a loud bang come from the engine, and it dies. Yup, she just threw a rod. Well then, you just threw a rod and you're not going anywhere soon. I close the hood and walk back over to her. She just has this completely shocked look on her face. Well, your engine is toast. Gonna need to replace it. Hope you have roadside assistance. I start walking back to go inside when she spins me around by my shoulders and screams.
What did you do? You broke my car! Now fix it, or buy me another one.
Ma'am, this car was done for when you drove it in. I did nothing but what you instructed me to do. Now I'm going home. The diagnosis fee is usually $50, but I'll waive that for now. Come back Tuesday morning. Clueless Kid walks up to entitled Mom and asks,
Mommy, are we meeting Daddy for dinner?
Sorry, honey. It seems we won't, because this jerk is being selfish and mean.
Clueless Kid breaks down and starts wailing in despair, and then charges at me, trying to knock me down or something. He's only like 6, but I wasn't expecting that at all. I quickly ducked in the door I had unlocked and locked it behind me, and he slams face first into the door. As she's doting on him, I close and lock the back garage door and start packing my stuff up to go home, all while she's banging on the front door. I grab the back garage door opener and leave, and she chases after me in the parking lot, throwing garbage at my car. I think nothing of it. Out of curiosity, I drive past work the next day, and her car is gone. Less to explain to the boss. Fast forward to Tuesday morning. I show up for work, and who else but entitled Mom is sitting there waiting for us to open. Joy. Well, she goes on a tirade to my supervisor that I broke her car and left her there. I give my side of the story, while she calls me a liar. Then we go to the owner and review the security cam footage, which clearly shows her going around back, her kid attacking me, and her throwing junk at me as I left. To end it all, her demands that I be fired were laughed at, and she was banned from the premises for attempting to assault an employee. And while I was told that I shouldn't have egged her on, they still said my idea was funny as crap, and let me go. Next we've got Scary Entitled Customer. Hi, Mr. Reddit. I've been on a marathon of your videos recently, and the r/entitled parents are definitely my favorite. I thankfully haven't had too many encounters with entitled parents, but customers, that's a different story. I'm on mobile currently, so I apologize for any formatting errors. For a little background, I am currently 22 and recently graduated from college. I used to work at an amusement park my junior and senior years of college, and boy did I see my fair share of crazy customers. In this story, the cast will be me, yours truly. We have the scary customer, the manager, and the coworker. When I worked for this particular amusement park, they would occasionally have me work selling tickets for what's called overflow. Overflow is basically an extension of the main parking lot where people are allowed to park if they're going to a baseball game taking place in the nearby stadium. This job is referred to as a change bagger because you basically hold all your money in a little bag apron, which you use to give the customers change. For this job, there are usually 2 workers and 1 manager out in the parking lot, just to give you an idea. There was a particular customer who, for this story, I'll call Scary Customer, who was quite well known among my coworkers. He was an older man, probably 40s, and had a nasty habit of trying to get workers, especially female workers, fired. For fun, I guess. Basically, he tried to get us to bend rules or would try to confuse us into giving him incorrect change so he could get us fired. It never worked because the managers knew of him as well, but sadly, there really wasn't a way to prevent him from coming to the park as he never got violent. I never had to deal with him for the longest time until one fateful day he drives up and my coworker casually wants me to tread lightly. Hello, sir. Are you here for the game?
Yes. How much is parking?
It's $25. Now, most people typically gave $30, so it was easy to make change. But not this guy. Oh no, of course not. He shoves several bills at me that appear to total up to almost $90 and hands me a bunch of random change as well. I'm not good at mental math, never have been, and we didn't have a calculator out there, so I was struggling to figure out his change.
What's the matter? What's taking so long?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm just not good at adding in my head. I continue to try and add everything up.
Hurry up! I haven't got all day.
I apologize, sir. I'm almost done. I try to pick up the pace, but before I can finish.
Look, there's $95 there. Why don't I just give you another $5 to make it easier?
I finish counting a couple seconds later, seeing that it is in fact $95, thinking, hey, maybe he won't try to pull a fast one on me. Boy, was I wrong. Okay, sir, that sounds good to me. I'll get you your change. I take the extra $5 and give him $75 back. And yes, I made absolutely sure it was the correct amount.
This doesn't look like $75.
I'm sure I got it right, sir. I double-checked just to make sure.
But you just said you're not good at adding in your head. How can I trust that you really gave me $75?
Well, sir, it's easy for me to add big bills in my head, but I'm not so good with coins. I'm sure, though, that I gave you $75.
Now you're just lying. You're trying to steal my money. I want it all back. Now!
Well, sir, I can do that, but then you won't be able to park here.
Why not?
I'm a bit scared now because of the yelling. Well, it's a company policy. If I issue a refund, you can't get your money back and keep the parking ticket. It will be like you haven't paid for the item yet.
But I did pay. I just paid for the ticket. Now you're just trying to scam me.
Sir, I know that you just paid, but I can't refund you and let you park.
Shut up. I know how all you teenage girls are, trying to rob me of my hard-earned money.
I was so thrown off by his comment and the fact that I was sure he was about to hurt me that I couldn't think of anything to say. Luckily, I didn't have to, as my manager came over after hearing the commotion.
What seems to be the problem?
This stupid jerk is trying to steal from me, and she refused to let me park here.
The manager looks at both of us, dumbfounded. I had never gotten written up at work before, much less been caught doing anything illegal, so for my manager to hear this was highly unusual.
I've known Hannah Rose for quite some time, and as far as I know, she's never stolen from customers.
Now you're just trying to cover for her. She didn't give me correct change, and now she won't let me park here. She even tried to attack me.
I explained my side of the story to manager, about counting up the change, giving him the $75 back, him asking for the refund, etc. At this point, my coworker walks over as well, and she's dealt with this man before. Coworker. Sir, I'm not sure what you're talking about, but she never once raised a hand to you.
Now you're all in on it. Whatever happened to decent customer service?
Sir, I won't have you harassing us like this, and for the record, Hannah is right. We can't refund you and allow you to park here. It just doesn't work that way. So either you can leave us alone and pull in, or we'll give you the money back and you will have to leave. He continues to go on a tirade for another 5 to 10 minutes, all while me and coworker are trying to calm him down, and manager now insisting he has to leave without a refund. Manager really didn't take crap from anyone. Finally, he gives up and drives off out of the parking lot, but not before looking straight at me and pointing a finger at me while screaming,
I know where you work. I'll be back for you.
I was terrified for days afterwards that this guy was going to show up again and hurt me. Thankfully, I never dealt with him again, but I still heard countless horror stories about my other coworkers encountering him and having similar experiences. And our final story of the day, the Church Boy Stalker Saga. This is another story about how my usually spot-on instincts concerning people failed me spectacularly. It starts with an innocent night on the town with my coworker and friend, Georgia. I always call her G. She's a teensy, pocket-sized elf of a girl who bears a close resemblance to a young Claire Danes, so not altogether unfortunate looking. This was during a period when boyfriend and I were separated. She was single too, so we went out to the local watering holes together quite often. It was that period of our lives where a night on the town meant dressing to the nines and then drinking, dancing, and flirting all night long. Now, as for myself, I very rarely drink. I get inebriated even less often. My limit is usually 1 mixed drink or 2 beers. I just don't like to put myself into a state where I am not in control, especially in a bar type of setting where you really need to be on your guard. For this reason, I usually drove whenever we went to local watering holes, but that night there was something wrong with my car. If I remember correctly, there was an exhaust leak. It wasn't something that would keep the car from running, but could possibly cause us to be pulled over. Not a scenario that someone who has a drunk passenger and potentially a drink or two in their system wants to invite. Since we didn't want to run the risk of having any run-ins with the law, we decided that Georgia would drive. To make a long story short, Georgia got spectacularly drunk and decided to leave with an ex that she happened to run into during the night.
Don't worry though,
She says.
James said he would take you home.
James was the nice-looking guy that she had introduced me to during the night. She told me that they went to the same church, and she had known him since she was a kid, and he was a really nice guy. James and I had been talking and dancing, and yes, even flirting a little as the night progressed. Because I felt like we had gotten to know each other a bit, and because he came with Georgia's stamp of approval, not something she readily gave to anyone, I felt fairly comfortable accepting a ride home. Also, I was kind of put on the spot since Georgia had already asked James and told me about it in front of him. I didn't want to insult a guy I potentially wanted to go out with. Looking back, I wish to whatever you worship that I had just called a cab. On the way to my place, James dropped a lot of hints.
I'm not ready to call it a night. I'd like to hang out a little bit more. I could use another beer,
etc. I casually told him that I was tired and ready for bed and thanked him for the ride. He asked for a kiss, and I gave him a playful peck on the cheek, patted him on the arm, and shut the car door. The next day, I go out to run errands, and the phone rings as I'm walking in the door. It's James wanting to hang out. I'm tired, so I say he can come over and we'll watch a movie and hang out for a short while. When I hang up, I see he's left a couple messages while I was out. A little pushy, but okay, I guess. Maybe he just really likes me. We're sitting on the couch watching a movie, and he goes from friendly companion to full-on make-out mode in 0.2 seconds. I mean, 1 second we're sitting on the couch at a comfortable distance. The next, he's practically on top of me, trying to put his tongue down my throat. Oh no, dude. Homegirl don't play that. So I'm telling him no, and he's acting like he doesn't get it. He's getting slightly more and more aggressively affectionate, and I'm starting to low-key panic. I don't remember what I said exactly, but I did eventually manage to get him out the door. Relatively unscathed, I thought, save for a copious amount of unwanted slobber. When I went to change for bed later, I found finger marks on my upper arms from where he had gripped me so hard. The next night, I got approximately 10 calls from James. I didn't answer. He left voicemails. Every single time. This was before everyone had electronic leashes, aka cell phones. I myself only had a landline, so it was a lot easier to ghost someone back then. I figured I'd just not answer the phone and he'd eventually give up. Like most sensible people, right? Wrong. My phone rings at 4 a.m. Now we know nothing good happens at that hour of the night. People don't call you up to chat. So when I was jolted out of sleep, I answered the phone automatically without even pausing to think or look at caller ID. It's James.
What are you doing?
Are you kidding me? I'm sleeping.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am. That's what most people do at 4 a.m. on a work night.
Why is your living room light on then?
You know that old saying, my blood ran cold? Well, I always thought it was a dramatic phrase to describe sudden fear, but you don't truly understand it until you experience it the way I did. He was calling me from right outside my front door. I was single, lived alone, and had no weapon. I was in the habit of leaving certain lights on at all times because, quite honestly, I'm afraid of the dark. I feel safer with lights on and even sleep with a bedside lamp on. I always have since I was a child. I don't remember what I said back, except that it involved lots of swearing, and it ended with him pounding on my door and calling me repeatedly for about a half hour or so. I eventually had to call the police to get rid of him. The next day, I sarcastically thanked Georgia for the setup, and she was furious when she saw the bruises on my arms. She ended up admitting that she didn't really know James all that well, but that they had been acquainted for a long time, and he seemed like a nice guy. He kept up the psycho dialing for a while, but finally quit when Georgia confronted him about my bruises and threatened to expose his behavior to their church community, and worse, his mother. Thank goodness. I hope that, since then, James has learned that a ride home does not entitle you to a date or anything else from a girl. Edit. This was over a decade ago, and I live with my boyfriend now. The time for police or other intervention has passed. Yes, I probably should have told the cops, but I sadly did not. At least I'm safe, and I got rid of him.
Support this channel on Patreon, or I'm going to give your phone number to my son, who's a psycho.
And congrats to our re-generals of the day, Hunt for Fun 16, Oof, and Corsi Husky. That's all for now, but don't be blue. I'll be back soon with more stories for you. Remember to listen to Mr. Reddit every night, so your dreams will be wonderful like you are and bright.